Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where we're kicking off Monday with some extra news. You're probably expecting a Fusion showcase. I think I even promised it in my video looking at all the champions overall, and it's not out yet. What is going on? Well, as of time of recording, maybe we'll get a showcase of her today, but it's looking like it's actually going to be tomorrow for every channel unless someone pushes their embargo live by accident. The reason being simple enough that she's bugged on the test server, her A3 and apparently her A1. I hadn't noticed that one, but her A3 is bugged. It's just giving her an extra turn if she's no buffs. Her A1 apparently is a bit weird as well. So we're just waiting to see whenever Plarium figures out what's wrong and fixes it, and then we can do a proper test server showcase. Probably someone, I bet right now, I'm again recording this video a few hours in advance. I can almost guarantee someone has recorded their showcase video for her because we obviously got access days ago. They've already recorded it over the weekend. They've scheduled it to go live. They're at work today, and they're not like, I don't know, especially if someone's like based in the West, like in the Americas or whatever. They'll schedule it to go live. They'll be at work, won't see that the embargo has been postponed and it's going to go live anyway. So, hey, you might find a showcase of her somewhere. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, the Fusion warm-up for her is live. So, yes, we've got a few different bits to cover here. So, the first thing we'll jump into, it's Clan versus Clan is coming up tomorrow. And it is personal rewards. So, it's a biggie. It is a biggie. I will be here for this. I will be streaming, so I will see you guys when Clan versus Clan goes live. Stay tuned. I will be live for about 2 hours or so. So yeah, come join me. We'll have a good time. I will almost definitely, in fact, pretty certainly, I'll be pulling Raphael, building Raphael, getting Donatello finished as well. I'm trying to get Donatello and Raphael ready to go. Maybe we'll do some arena stuff with them as well, and so on. So that is what's happening, sort of as predicted, seeing as there just weren't any Titan points left. Doesn't look like this is where the Leo event is dropping. So now it becomes the question, will they drop the Leonardo? We're expecting a Leonardo's Heroes Path. Well, I've talked about this multiple times as well at this stage, but just to reiterate, they could drop it mid-fusion, like a mid-week, mid-fusion thing. That could happen, just sort of a random event. Alternatively, they could drop it after the fusion ends. That could happen as well. Like a Hero's Path right as the fusion ends, where the next summon rush would be due. Who knows? We don't know for sure. It has to happen before Turtles goes away. Turtles, obviously, the event is ending in 2 days, but the Turtles are actually still around technically until like the 10th or 11th of November, so there's still some time. There's 2 weeks on the event dungeon. I think there's slightly more than that when they can run the Leo path. We'll see. But yeah, that is what's happening now. And we can see all the final events for the Titan event, by the way, are in now. So the Sand Devil Turn Attack is not part of it. But as of today, the Dragon Tournament, Gear Hunters, and the warm-up event, the Fusion warm-up, these are the final parts of the Titan event. One final bit to touch on in terms of this as well, and we'll look at the summons that are boosted for CVC. Raphael, they will sell fragments. So if you are a spender and you didn't manage to collect all the fragments from the Deck of Fate, they will sell Raphael fragments at some point before this turtle thing ends. I'd expect that probably in the next week or two, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. You still could potentially buy your way to a Raphael. I would say they probably sell up to 50. That's typically what happens. Same with fusions as well. If you miss a fragment fusion, so long as you have like 50, I think, fragments, they'll try to sell you the rest of the fragments. Now it's not cheap. Repair your wallet for $100 or more. Well, I think off the top of my head, I think it's like $2 per fragment. So to buy 10 fragments would be $20. I think it's like that. So yeah, whatever. You could be spending anywhere from 10 for 5 fragments up to 100 for 50, I believe. It's actually cheaper than buying the shards for him. And so you can kind of skip some fusion events sometimes for fragment fusions and just buy the fragments after. It's a risk because it's never guaranteed that they'll give the fragments in the shop, but it can be a sneaky strategy. Be like, ooh, I need to pull, let's say, 10 or 11 or 12 sacred shards to complete this. Obviously, to buy those in real money is like $150, if not 200 plus. What if I just skip this summon and I buy the fragments for the champion after? Anyway, let's look at the summons for CVC though. And here we go. These are the 15x events that are going to be happening as part of CVC. So yeah, it is personal reward CVC. That being said, it's a bit of a dodgy time to pull. There's a couple of spicy picks in here for sure. But yeah, for me, I'm in like really shard saving mode to try to complete this fusion and then to be ready for Leonardo as well. That being said, there are some interesting things in here. So Donatello, obviously, time limited. Donatello, very solid. The only pure support of the turtles. He's very good. People liking him a heck of a lot. So he's great. Now, hopefully you would have done the few. I think it'd be a weird situation where, you know, it'd be a weird situation where you'd have enough shards to actually chase for Donatello, but you wouldn't have done the fusion. So it'd be like you're a big spender who is taking a break from the game at the time or something like that, missed the start of the fusion. Because yeah, bearing in mind, it is just a 15x event. So your chances of getting the champion are still sub 10%, even if you do get a legendary. It's still pretty rough. But it is there. He is time limited, and that is potentially a selling point. For sure. So let's put him in. Time limited. I think Kaldor is also a great option. Let's put them actually fairly even. Kaldor, he's not strictly time limited, but as a faction unity, he's not usually in the summon pool. He's only available in certain events. I think Kaldor is pretty interesting. So he does hit really hard with decreased defense and weaken. He can also place and explode a bunch of poisons, or he can put a bunch of continuous heals on himself. He ignores like defense for poisons and continuous heals that are out, which hits again really, really hard. He can do AoE. Yeah, he gains a bunch of crit rate with continuous heals, and again, he can put loads on himself with continuous heals and then hit hard. You could run him with Senna potentially as well. There's some really interesting stuff you can do with this champion. He's very cool. He's very fun. I think he's phenomenal for Faction Wars. He's an AoE, A1, stun. He's pretty interesting for Chimera as well. So the thing about Chimera champions is obviously you just, Titus does the most damage, right? End of story. Every other champion, in terms of doing the most damage for like CVC, it's like Trunda 2.0, right? Every other champion is basically irrelevant. You can do whatever you want, but one of the second bet, like you run a Marius team, it's like, yeah, sure, that's good, great, good job, thumbs up, or Toshiro even. Yeah, those are ridiculous champions. That's great, but one of you, one person with a good Titus team will like basically beat 5 of your clan members running the best Toshiro team or something. Like, it's something silly. Anyway, good Chimera damage dealers now, it's not so much about doing maximum damage, just run Titus or lose. It's about how many trials can I do to get the mythical materials? And just ignoring CVC because it's kind of shit. Or Clash mode. Chimera Clash just has pretty rubbish rewards. So you just ignore it and try to do trials. He's quite interesting for trials. Again, he can get you the perfect Veil trial. He can get you the hit hard enough in one single hit trial. I'm pretty sure he can help with the poison trials. Yeah, so he does some interesting stuff. He's an interesting pick for sure. Like, for example, Balar the Lost, I've used. It's very hard. You can do it, but it's stupidly difficult to do X damage, like whatever, 750,000 damage in one single hit. It's really hard to do that with Balar. Like, really hard. The two do synergize well together. So I think anyway, the whole rant over. Kaldor is cool. And he is a faction unity. So yeah, I think he is a reasonable one to pull for as well. If you're at Mercy, you've got a surplus of shards, a surfeit of shards, and you don't mind going for it. So they're both reasonable. Now I'm going to switch to red. I would not recommend pulling Alsgore. And then we're going to switch back to green ones. I would recommend a little bit of stock and a little bit of Grand Oak. These are my ratings. So there we go. We've got two medium recommendations, both time limited, both good, but not absolutely game breaking. But just all of this in the context of Leonardo. Alsgore, so he's red, so it's by far the worst. Maybe that's a bit misleading. But I would not pull for Alsgore just at all. He's fine. He's good, but he's the do not pull champion, right? He's got the combo with Jetney, which is unfortunately kind of rubbish because she's kind of rubbish. Got the decreased speed passive, decent against Iron Twins, block damage with a heal. He can remove some buffs, continuous heal. He's okay. He's an okay champion. I have used him for Curse City and stuff like that. He's okay, but I wouldn't pull for him. Let's actually, to make this more clear, let's say stock a little bit, Grand Oak there, and we'll make this a small little red dot. Be like, just don't pull for him. Stock, I recommend a little bit. Stock is a stupidly good partner for Vizig. Right, Vizig, the faction unity, puts out burns and poisons. He makes your burns and poisons do more damage. You do more damage for burns and poisons, and they can't be removed, stolen, or transferred. You can also increase all of those debuffs and heal you based off of it. So there you go. Great. Then stock comes in, more poisons, extra poisons and weaken if the target's under burn. And he's healing. He can activate burns and poisons. And yeah, he can also let burns and poisons ignore unkillable and block damage. So I'm actually Ogren Tribes. I'm in an awful spot in terms of stars. It's by far my worst faction for Faction Wars Hard in terms of the stars. That being said, there's a few factions, such as, for example, Dark Elves, also Shadowkin, a couple of factions that are really, really difficult to actually farm stage 21 successfully. I can farm stage 21 of Ogren. And I use a rare. I use Gear Grinder, the rare reviver on the team. What the heck's going on? Because my team, no joke, is Vizig, Stock, and Gerda Bogbrew, right? And it's poisons, and they just destroy it. And then also Gurgo as well. He's able to help with wave 2. But yeah, and Gear Grinder. It's a stupid team, but it's very strong. So Stock is very good with Vizig for Faction Wars, and it's a terrible faction for Faction Wars. Unless the Void Legendaries make a huge impact. I've got one of them. I don't think I could do it without him. But yeah, it's a really tough faction. So Stock's great for that. He's also going to be very good if ever poisons and burns become relevant again. Like if they go, hey, surprise, now there's up to stage 25 of Dragon Hard and Ice Golem Hard, then yeah, he might get a bit of a look in. But he's very relevant for Arena. So you guys might know about, if you've played any late game Arena, you might have encountered this Volcanos fella before, right? And he's placing all these burns that can't be resistor blocked, and they blow you up. You might have encountered this Nell chick before, who's got these unblockable poisons, and she'll have Arachne Elixir, and each poison will do 50,000 damage, and you'll basically almost instantly die. Well, good news, because you've got this champion who, again, you may have encountered once or twice before in Arena, called Mariska the Unbreakable. She puts out a block damage whenever an ally receives a bomb, poison, or burn. So she really protects your team entirely from poisons and burns, which is very helpful against champions like Nell. Well, it's not helpful against a Nell if they've got a stock, because then the poisons just ignore the block damage and your whole team dies anyway. Bit of a bummer, right? So yeah, stock actually, he features very prominently in some speed farm teams for Arena, features very prominently in siege teams as well. For letting you use poisons and bombs, not bombs, but lets you use poisons and burns to bypass those block damage teams. And also just generally, like whatever, it's also, you can bypass like Odin and, I don't know, you can bypass Lady Noelle and Sir Nicholas with Unkillable, whatever. Any champions like that, very, very powerful. So he's actually kind of relevant. I could see some whales going after him. So there's 3 champions I think a whale could reasonably chase. Grand Oak Podrick is really good as well. I'll give him a green, but like a tiny little speck. I would normally think this is a great champion, but I just wouldn't massively recommend it. Only a tiny recommendation for me, just because Fusion plus Leonardo event coming up. But he's great. Full team ally attack with full restore of destroyed HP and continuous heal. Turn meter boost with increased speed and debuff removal. And then he's buffing you up every turn as well. He's got a dungeon speed aura, a bit of cooldown reduction, A1. Good, really, really good base speed. He's just great. He's great. I use him in Fire Knight. He's ridiculous. He's very good for Hydra, Fire Knight, yeah, Chimera, Faction Wars. He's just phenomenal champion. So he's really, really good. And those would be those champions for me from day 1. Now, day 2, we've got Raphael, Elva, Ragash, Glakid, and Arashi. So I would definitely recommend Raphael. I'll give him the same rating. You know, if you haven't got Raphael, he's great to get. People have warmed up to him. I'm seeing a lot of people liking him more than they were before. I still think he has problems. Now, what is interesting to me is Plarium has said they are looking into, and this for me is a huge thing, they're looking into maybe changing how his berserk works. So like one of probably the most common bit of feedback I've seen from many of your comments on Raphael, and it makes a ton of sense, is make his berserk debuff protected, right? Because I mean, he's supposed to go with the turtles. Donatello removed the berserk. It's like, why, bro? But yeah, so that's a problem. Like, he's so stupidly powerful with damage when he's got berserk, but Donatello keeps removing it. Obviously gets blocked by Stone Skin. It gets blocked by block debuffs. I think it will probably always be blocked by Stone Skin, but I wouldn't be entirely shocked if Raid came out and we're like, you know what? We're buffing Raphael. His berserk debuff will now ignore block debuffs, and it will be protected. You can't remove it. With remove debuffs. I could see that happening, which makes him a good bit better. People are liking him a lot. He does have a block revive A1, which is very strong. So when you run him with the turtles, if he kills anyone with his A1, you get a kill. It's strong. Again, the issue is you need to you want that berserk on him, and that's awkward to play around. So yeah, I think he's probably the weakest of the turtles. I wouldn't be using him in most places, but he does have a place for arena with block revive and with the turtle teams. So yeah, Raphael, he's interesting. He's very interesting. It's like he'd be similar-ish to Leonardo in terms of damage. He brings the block revive. Leonardo is super survivable, of course, and he's bringing increased defense and eye protection for your team, and he's unkillable. So he's got all of this sort of stuff. But yeah, it's interesting with Raphael. So there you go. Cool. People liking him a bit more. I think there's still some big question marks around him, but he's cool. He's a cool champion. Elva, I would recommend. Definitely, she's great. Ragash, he's okay. Would I recommend him that much? Probably not, actually. Glaked, I would definitely recommend Glaked. And then I would probably not recommend Ragash, and I would definitely not recommend Arashi. So Ragash, I'd recommend, he's borderline. So you've got AoE decreased defense and stun on a 3-turn. Great move. He's got some other stuff. He can self-increase defense. So he can do some good damage. He's a defensive nuker. I just think he's not that great in the modern game. Very, very strong for wave content, though. So faction wars, that sort of stuff. But I don't really see him much in arena anymore, right? It's just awkward with, with polymorph, with wand of submission. It's just a bit awkward to use him in arena. He's not terrible. But yeah, he would have been very relevant in arena before. You used to see him a decent amount. You don't see him as much anymore. So yeah, he's good. Good damage dealer. Very strong for faction wars. You know what? He probably deserves a small. You know what? In terms of green, he probably deserves a little green dot. But I put Elva higher. I put Stock higher, and Grand Oak a little higher. So I'd recommend him probably the least of all of those. But I would recommend him a little bit. Arashi, though, Arashi's definitely a not recommend. He was a fusion this year. Not great. He's like your budget. Oh, no, sorry, he wasn't a fusion. It was the other guy, Ishiyama. He was a fusion, who I'd also not recommend. Arashi, I'd also really wouldn't recommend. Arena Speed Aura. His damage is kind of bad. Now, he does have the big single target ignore Stone Skin. That, to me, is just not exciting. Like, I mean, what is the upcoming fusion? Who will literally... I think her fusion will be starting like a couple of days after this 15x, or the day after. She's an ignore Stone Skin fusion, and we just had an ignore Stone Skin spirit fusion. Like, yeah, sure. I just don't like this guy. He's got a great aura. He's a very mediocre. He's like a viable damage dealer, but he's really not special. And I think he's really arena only. Yeah, I'd be like, for me, he's like a B+ sort of arena damage dealer. It's like, okay, he's better than the average, but he's really nothing special. I would not be chasing him in a 15x, especially. Yeah, not a fan. Right, so there we go with those. So it's mostly like the limited edition are good, but Glaked is great. Glaked, obviously, he's very strong for Chimera and stuff, just because he brings so many buffs. So he's like Duchess 2.0. Much worse defensively than Duchess, but much stronger offensively. So yeah, for doing Chimera trials, doing Hydra damage, etc., he's very solid. So I'd definitely be recommending him as a good, solid pickup. But yeah, the limited time champions for me are better options if you're going for it. Now we come to the voids. We've got Senna, Incensa, Raka, fighty, Yumiko and Vlad, they're all very good. So Vlad, I'd say from weakest to strongest, I'll say Vlad is the weakest of these. He's solid though. I used him in Undead Faction Wars. I just don't know how essential that is for folks. Depends what champions you've got, but Ultimate Death Knight, pretty common. People have him. Fabian as well. And we're going to be getting the new fusion in this faction too. You start to run out of some slots, but he does come in. AoE decrease defense, block active skills. He's got Turn Meter Steal as well. Like, he's very useful, but I think you could probably just get away with Fabian locking out and controlling enemies. He's not super necessary. Now, I do use him. He is the AoE decrease defense champion really for this faction. He's very solid. He's got a combo with Constantine, but again, with like the power creep in the game, you don't really see it that much. It's not that useful. Maybe a bit in Siege, but they're different factions. It's just a bit awkward. So Vlad, he's decent, but I wouldn't go too crazy. Then it becomes tough. Raka and Yumiko, I'm going to rate as pretty similarly, which is going to have people saying, what? But I'm going to put them, I think Raka's a bit underrated. I've actually started using her a bit in Chimera instead of Elva. So Elva, you get debuff removal, increased speed, block debuffs, revive, and lots of healing and perfect veil. Raka's almost, and a speed aura. Raka's almost the same. You get the speed aura, you get the debuff removal, you get the block debuffs, though it's not quite as good as Elva's. You miss the increased speed, but if I'm running Lydia anyway, I already have increased speed. I get the healing, I get an AoE revive instead of single target, although it is on a longer cooldown. But additionally, I get increased attack and I get a shield, which is actually quite helpful. So yeah, I actually think she's a little bit underrated. She's quite good for Chimera. She does need, I think, a bit of a buff overall. I think, if you're going, she's pretty similar to Elva. Like, Elva's not a Void Legendary. She is. She should be noticeably better, honestly. And you've got champions like Sifi and Marishka and stuff like that, and Senna. Raka's not on what she should be for a Void Legendary, but I think she is good. Yumiko, I'm putting somewhat similar. Yeah, I should probably put Yumiko a little bit higher. A little bit higher, to be fair. But Yumiko, increase enemy skill cooldown, reduce yours. I think there's just more and more options these days, and there's more and more counters to this these days. I have Fabian, and I actually find myself using Fabian more. Particularly because I got a 5-star soul. That extra accuracy makes a big difference. I don't have it for Yumiko, but I do find myself using Fabian more because just the crowd control that he can spam just ends up being a bit stronger than the Yumiko for Arena, and her reset's a little bit awkward in Arena, which got the longer cooldown. So yeah, as a lockout champion in Arena, I don't think she's as relevant, whereas back in the day, she was bonkers with the Mythicals, Chronophage set now. I've seen a couple of times. Yeah, not quite as insane. Now, the reset does make her super valuable for speed farming dungeons, event dungeons, whatever. I suppose, you do have you know what? I do need to rank her actually much higher because, of course, you've got the Yumiko Lamasu. I forgot because it's not something I want to do. Let's see if there's actually any examples. But for Chimera, the best possible, or one of the, well, you also got these versions as well, which are super strong, which is the Androx Senna version. Ridiculous. Let's see, is anyone running the full reset-y version, which is very good? Actually, not too many people running a full reset version, but you can run Yumiko Lamasu and just have them spam reset each other, both for Hydra and Chimera. Now, the issue is it's manual play, right? Basically, you have to keep forcing Lamasu to use her A3 on Yumiko to reset, and then keep using Yumiko to reset, and they keep resetting each other, and sort of infinite resets for your whole team. It's very strong, it's very viable, but it's a bloody pain in the ass. So, yeah, let me put it like that. Yumiko, you've got the team reset. To be fair, that's crazy. You've got the crazy potential for like Trunda teams and Titus teams and whatnot. We're spamming resets. But in my humble opinion, unless you are a masochist, you hate yourself and you hate your life and you want to punish yourself and you've run out of whips, I would not want to subject anyone to hours of manual Yumiko play. every week for that. Like it's literally like I mean, I'm a content creator for this game, and literally my idea of hell would be like you get to hell and the devil's like, you must run manual clan boss teams for the whole day. For the next 5 hours, you must run manual clan boss teams. No, please, please, I don't know. Put my balls in a nutcracker instead, please. Anything but the manual clan boss teams, Mr. Devil. No, I'm too evil. Like, is that? Ah, oh, man, it's rough. Right, then we come to these. I would say Senna for me is the best. Again, because of Chimera, and Chimera is so important, but she's just so stupidly strong for Chimera. The reason is she gives you like infinite turn meter. You do need kind of want to run her with someone who can extend buffs or bring some more continuous heal. So Androck is perfect. I mean, this says it all. Like, look at this. It's 2.14 bit. Why are both of these guys doing 2.14 billion? Isn't it crazy? They've got the exact same damage. No, there's a damage. He's done 3.4 billion, but it's breaking the damage. Same thing with Demon Lord. It's breaking the damage limit, right? The team just does too much damage. It doesn't work properly. There's a damage cap. The reason Senna is so strong in here we go. The reason Senna is so strong in Chimera particularly is all of the clan bosses have a turn limit. You will hit it easily enough in Demon Lord and in Hydra, depending on your team. It's very difficult to hit the turn limit for Chimera because the boss is quite fast, getting through it 65 turns. Again, like the boss is like clan boss, we had 150 clan boss turns here. In Chimera, it's only 65. The boss is much faster. It's really hard to actually hit your turn limit. And that is why the Senna becomes crazy, because she gives you so much turn meter, so much that all those extra turns, you can actually get the value out of them, which is crazy good. Continuous heals turn meter boost, but it's the turn meter boost for your whole team whenever a continuous heal buff activates on an ally. And she's most commonly run alongside Androck, who brings another continuous heal, potentially 2 continuous heals and turn meter. But he extends those buffs. So you got all those continuous heals. They're extended. Everyone's taking turns. His passive is giving you turn meter when you crit. Whenever anyone takes a turn, they get turn meter because the continuous heals pop. They can happen multiple times. And then the turns just compound on the turns. And suddenly you've got, you're breaking the damage limit. You're doing 3.4 billion damage with Titus. And then any of these fucking losers... if you didn't get Wixwell and you didn't get Titus and you don't have, you fucking loser, you can't even, again, like I said, like 3.4 damage with Titus. Look at this loser. Look at this shit team. He's only done 300. He's done 10% of the damage. What a shit team. Look at these shit champions. Fuck. But God forbid, don't get me wrong, comment section. I would never advocate for nerfs taking away your champions. God forbid. No, never. Insansa is good. I'd put her actually fairly similar to Raka. Now I'm thinking about it. I'd put her probably a little bit lower. She's an AoE decrease defense and weaken, which is cool. She's the only champion so far with Poison Cloud, which is very unique. And it's like a big single target boost. Again, this is really awkward. You kind of need to manual this one to put it on the right person, but it is pretty cool. But you need to manual, so there's that. And then she's got the AoE decrease attack A1. Now, this is the big thing. She brings in the ally attack, so she is very strong for things like Hydra. She can be good for Chimera and stuff like that as well. Very, very good for Faction Wars. Kind of interesting for Arena a little bit too, so she's cool. But I would say she's maybe not as insane. It's just, same thing with any of these crazy good Chimera champions. It just gets hard to fit them in a little bit. And then I think Fighty is real nice, actually. I'd be putting Fighty up pretty high. Fighty seems pretty cool. I get so many comments of people saying how much they love Fighty. But he comes in, so he's got your full team reset as well, but on a 4-turn. But he cannot himself be reset. So you can't do like the infinite Yumiko loops. So she probably is a bit more valuable, again, if you like self-torture. But if you run double Yumiko, it's fine because they can reset each other. And it's full auto because it's an AoE team reset, right? should really be removed, but whatever. Does it even matter these days with how broken all the PvE modes are? Does anything matter at all? Or is it all a waste of time? Maybe it's all a waste of time. But yeah, you get increased res and perfect veil as well, which is nice. He has a full buff removal with block buffs and decreased speed and a turn meter boost for you. It's so much stuff. He's got yeah, anti-polymorph as well, which is really cool. He's got healing on his A1 with turn meter boost. He's just a really interesting champ. I think he's pretty sick. Again, for bosses, for wave content, he's bringing you a heck of a lot of stuff for Chimera. He's not bad. I don't know. I think he's pretty cool. Maybe that's overrating him a little bit, but I think he's pretty good. Maybe something like that. So yeah, for me, Senna is the winner. Yumiko has, Senna's a strong winner. Yumiko's got some broken interactions. I think the limited edition regular shards are good as well. And then I say Fidey, followed by Insensa, and I think Raka, underrated Raka. And then Vlad, definitely decent champion, but not a must-have by any means. And yeah, like that. Glake is real good. Stock, some spicy interactions for Anti-Marishka, and a bad faction for him. And yeah, time limited. There you go. That's my thoughts on that. Lots of news, lots to discuss. There we go. See you guys. Well, check out the new champions on the test server as well, because they're also pretty crazy. And that video should be live already, I think. So there we go. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time. I'm going to go rant more about Chimera. See you next time. Goodbye.